At least 17 students that were abducted, along with hundreds of others by Jihadist extremist group Boko Haram, have now been rescued by the Katsina State government. Now, that state is in the northwest of Nigeria and the home state of Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari. His government has battled to deal with the insurgency, and concerns are now mounting that this latest attack could see it spread to other parts of northern Nigeria. Journalist Shareef Al Hassan has covered the Boko Haram insurgency for years now, at least in the northeast of Nigeria. He joins us now from Yola in that country. Shareef, thanks so much for your time and welcome to the AM Report here in South Africa. Quite an extraordinary story that we all watched while really being caught off guard and being quite aghast. Let's start perhaps with the context. What history, if any, does Boko Haram insurgencies, abductions have in the northwest of that country? Because we know there is quite an intense history in the northeastern parts of Nigeria.
Well, good morning. Well, there hasn't been any history of abduction in Nigeria's northwest region, particularly in Katsina, Kano, Zamfara, Sokoto, and some other states like that. We've not recorded, or the northwestern Nigeria have not recorded any kind of abduction, unless the likes of Borno, the state in the northeastern part of the country. Well, yes, we've seen dominance of Boko Haram sometimes in 2014, 2013, when there are pockets of attack in Kano, to be precise, and of course Katsina. But we've not seen any abduction. Recently, the only thing that is presently bothering that region is more of kidnappers and bandits who are actually taking people for ransom. So the recent state of affairs in the country, particularly in that zone, actually sends a strong signal to the authorities concerned that this group called Boko Haram actually spreading their tentacles, perhaps to the northwestern part of that country.
Yeah,
Nigeria.
Right. It's certainly a cause for concern. What is also interesting, though, is that the state governor of Katsina is apparently in talks with the abductors to try get them back. The knee-jerk reaction, of course, is to try and ensure the safety of the pupils who are abducted. But I'm interested in the dynamics. I mean, take us through the significance of the optics of having the government essentially negotiating with terrorists.
Well, basically, yes, the governor, Aminu Masari, has come out to say that he's been in talks with these terrorists who have abducted these school children. But we've seen it happen in times without number. It happens to the Chibok girls' abduction in 2014, the one of 2016 to be precise, in Dapchi, where a whole lot of schoolgirls were also taken away. And it has become a practice in Nigeria where if things happen like this, the only statement government comes to talk about is, yes, we're on top of the situation, we're doing everything for the safe return of these boys, particularly the one that has just happened in Ankara, where more than 300 students are still missing. And we're getting to 4 or 5 days ever since the boys are missing, and we've not seen any one of those boys return, unless the 17. And for the record, those 17 that the government are saying have they were successfully rescued, they were not rescued. These boys actually returned. They didn't actually get to follow this. Let's call them criminals. They didn't get to follow them to their destination. Most of them hid. Most of them ran back to Ankara. So it's not as if they were kind of been able to be rescued by the Nigerian authority. No, they came back by themselves. So the rest of the 300 and 300 to 400 of students, which the government authoritatively said, the Katsina State governor did make it clear yesterday that the boys are close to 400, from 336 to 400, which are presently still missing. But it's one of those things in Nigeria where things happen like this. Government get to tell people that they're always on top of the situation, but it's actually not true. They're getting to 5 days and nothing has happened. So for the governor to has come out to say he's presently in talks with this bandit, when members of Boko Haram are not easily cajoled like this, because their modus of operandi is quite different from kidnappers or bandits. Yeah, you can start talks with bandits for a ransom and of course bandits, but now that the Boko Haram group in person of the group leader, Abubakar Shekau, has released an audio message to the Nigerian government that they are solely responsible for that abduction. So that is going to make it perhaps much more difficult for them to achieve what they are going to achieve. Because when it comes to abduction, Boko Haram don't easily came in with any kind of, they don't collect ransom so easily. But a lot of people are seeing perhaps this abduction, since Boko Haram has come out to say they are the one who abducted these boys from Kara. It might be Boko Haram, but as it stands, the Katsina State government are still saying this abduction did not happen by the men of Boko Haram. It was actually carried out by bandits or perhaps kidnappers.
Right. Oh, such a pity that our connection is not playing ball. Let me ask one more question, and hopefully we'll be able to make out what you're saying. For people who are watching our conversation, who can't wrap their head around how anyone is able to abduct 300 people in one go, help us understand what you know to be the strategy here. Because, I mean, as you rightly mentioned, even in 2014, 2016, with the Chibok girls, 270 odd pupils taken in one go. To this day, many still unaccounted for, over 100 or so of them. Help us better contextualize how this might work and why it appears the Nigerian government is struggling so woefully, really, to claw back on some of the work being done by Boko Haram.
You know, when Boko Haram came on board, when they started operation in 2009 in Borno State, northeast Nigeria, they have this view that Western education is sin, is haram. That is why they tag the name, or they name themselves Boko Haram. And one of the primary targets is to stop Western education, is to stop people, particularly from the north, partaking in all sorts of education, to stop them from acquiring basic Western education. So I think the recent activities of Boko Haram, particularly back then in 2014, 2016, where we've seen massive abduction of young girls from Chibok in Borno State. We've seen also the one in Dabchi in Yobe State. The recent activities of this Boko Haram, particularly in Katsina, has come out to tell the Nigerian authorities, yes, these men of Boko Haram are still on their toes. Like they really meant what they're saying, because it is the same operation that they used in Chibok. It is the same operation they used in Dabchi, where more than 100 were also taken away in Dabchi, talk less of Borno. Now with the recent one that just happened in Ankara, Katsina State, northwest Nigeria, has also, tells the authorities, yes, that the men of Boko Haram are still using the same tactics. They came, in a large convoy, and a whole lot of them were kidnapped or were taken away through a kind of open body cars, and of course, that's how they managed to actually take these boys away. And some of them would manage to trek for a very, very long distance, because these boys are being guarded by these heavily armed men through the bushes, which the Nigerian government, many of them did not even know the terrain of these bushes better than the bandits or the men of the Boko Haram. So that is how they managed to take most of these boys, the same way they managed to take Chibok and Dabchi girls. So I think it's the same strategy, and they still want to send that clear message. They still want to tell the Nigerian government and all authorities concerned that they are still pretty clear in the whole zone. And another message they're trying to send is that they still want to send to the Nigerian government that they are gradually spreading their tentacles from the northeastern part of the country and now to the northwestern part of the country.
Yeah, and you speak about sending a message to the government. Part of what made this latest attack, if you like, particularly significant is that, in fact, President Muhammadu Buhari, my understanding is that, was in that state at the time of the abduction. What message does this send, or what perception did it create among Nigerians of the government's ability to actually have a handle over the situation?
Well, before now, in view of, when President Muhammadu Buhari came on board in 2015, there were high hopes that he's going to change, quite a number of things. The issue of deteriorating nature of insecurity in the country, especially being a former army general, so there are high hopes that he's going to change quite a number of things. But since he came on board from 2015 to date, things get deteriorated, especially in terms of security. Before he came on board, the only security problem facing Nigeria is the issue of Boko Haram, particularly facing the northern part of the country. And now, away from Boko Haram, we've seen quite a number of other groups coming up. We have the likes of kidnappers who are presently, disturbing the fragile peace of the zone. We have banditry, which is presently again taking its toll on the people. So we have quite a number of other things away from the Boko Haram. We've also had, the economic crisis presently biting hard, in the country. So there are quite a number of things, there are if you go to the street, quite a number of Nigerians are saying the president is perhaps losing the war against Boko Haram. So, the abduction of these girls has further exposes the president many, that this thing happened in his own home state. The Boko Haram allowed him to be in Daura, which is just a few kilometers away from Kankara. And I think a lot of people here are saying these guys did this abduction strategically, knowing fully that the president is in his own state. So I think it's a very, very big disgrace to the country, not just the country, but the entire citizens.
Absolutely. Well, thanks very much for giving us your take from Nigeria. Certainly a cause for concern as we watch with bated breath, really, not only from South Africa, but I imagine from elsewhere on the continent. Appreciate your time on the AM report this morning. That right there, Shareef Al Hassan, a journalist, joining us there live via video link from Yola in Nigeria.